It's really important to keep the hygiene high, not only of course in the nest box, in general you have to keep your hygiene high because you don't want to have bacteria and viruses spreading around. But for me, nest boxes, that's priority number one. We have all our flights. We had double stage flights where you lose actually the visibility of the birds that were under, the beneath flight. So we moved to all our all our flights up to cabinets. So they are like between 60 and 1 meter from the ground. Also because my father said, I'm getting older, I don't want to be on my knees anymore. So that's why we actually moved it, and we also can see the birds better. So yeah, all the flights are on cabinets, and the advantage there is that you have a lot of storage space to put your show cages underneath and to put everything away. It's also easier indeed to feed and to clean. That's why my father wanted that. So you can see it here. Also, that's in my aviary. They are mounted on top of the cabinets. So on lighting, we are, as you said, we have like true light lamps, and we have LED lamps. LED on top of every breeding cage. We have a strip all over the whole length of the breeding room, and it gives in every breeding cage the same amount of light. You know, if you have only lights on top of your breeding room, then you see that the bottom boxes are much more darker than the boxes higher. With the LED strips and with the semi-transparent breeding cages that we have, it gives equal light everywhere. And on top of that, we use in the breeding room the true light lamps. I'm not sure, and perhaps Marcellus can answer that better, if further than 2 meters away it's beneficial or not. I don't know, the true light lamps, but so far it works for me, and that's why we continue on using them. It's a typical daylight lamp. Knowing that both at Mario's place as at my own place, we are breeding in the basement, so we don't have any natural light coming in. At my father's place, we do have natural light coming in, but at Mario's and my place, we breed in the basement. So we try to simulate daylight there. So, feeding. Then we have our own seed mixture. The basics of that are 45% cannery seed, 30% Japanese millet, and we also have chia and flaxseed in it there. Our soft food that are mainly fresh vegetables that we rape. We use fresh herbs when we have fresh herbs in the garden. When we don't have fresh herbs, we have a dried herb mixture that we use to put into the soft food. We have we have 3 kinds of eggs food that we add. Is only called pâté for exotic and for European birds, because there are a few shrimps in it. Don't use too much because then they might become aggressive. But and then we use the quico. Quico is a very simple dry egg food, just to make the consistency or the structure of the soft food right. If it's too wet, it's not good. We want to have it like the right structure when. So there we use the dry egg food to make sure that the structure of our soft food is right. We have soaked or sprouted mung beans and a sprouting mix, which is added to the soft food. We always use a can of sweet corn, and besides that, we also use fonio paddy and turmeric. That's the basics of our soft food, which you see a few of the pictures here. Now, sometimes when we have a lot of vegetables available, we mix them all together and then we put them in bags in the freezer. It's also fresh when you take it out. It's totally it's nearly the same as fresh. But most of the time now we just mix what we need for the next 2 days. So besides that, I think soft food becomes less and less important in the feeding of our budgies. I think it's more important to use different seed mixtures and to provide different kinds of seed for our birds. So besides our general seed mixture, we also provide all this kind of seeds, which is a mixture that I developed myself. It's called Growth and Energy, and that consists out of 14 different seeds, and I have a slide there further on. And then everybody knows Pagima Green Delicia Fonio Paddy. It's from one specific vendor that provides those seeds, and the birds love it. Then we have from Michael Weiss, we have the mohair seeds that we use, white perilla, and of course a lot of red millet sprays. Yeah, I think everybody knows to get youngsters feeding by their own. The red millet sprays, they are crucial. We already put red millets in the nest boxes before they come out because they see the mother or the father already eating and they learn. That's what I think. And they go to it immediately when they leave the nest boxes again. So red millets, yeah, I don't know how many boxes per year I use, but it's quite a lot. So if you see, this is the Growth and Energy mix, and it contains all this kind of seeds. This, and to be honest, I put this together initially to have a seed mixture that the young birds would love. But afterwards we see that not only the young birds, also the adults were going first to this seed mixture. The only thing, there is some hemp seed in. You have to be careful when they have chicks coming out of the nest boxes that they don't get too aggressive. That's the only thing. But for the rest, it's a very rich and good seed mixture that we have very good results with. So we are not giving a lot of vitamins anymore, to be honest, because normally birds with a good and balanced seed mixture and soft food, they don't need much more. There are a few things extra that we do. Is we give some grit and some minerals. Where Thrive and Gloss, the Just Seaweed from Alan and Gina, and then we have a special grit mixture which I developed some time ago. It's a grit mixture with eucalyptus that we are actually giving right now to the birds. And besides that, we only, it's the next slide then. We have, of course, willow branches for me, herbs and greens, it's a must for the birds. You see, this is when we put the branch in, and like a few hours later, it's the picture to the right, they have all taken off. And it's not only nutritional, it's also to keep the birds busy. And they love to chew the willow branches, and what is also important is the different thickness of the branches. If we all use the same thickness of perches, at a certain moment you get birds that don't put their feet anymore correctly around the perch. So what do we do now is both in the breeding cage as in the flights, I use all kind of dimensions of perches so that they really need to adapt to the diameter of the perch. and that they put their toes correctly on the perch. And we saw a lot in Europe that the birds on the show would bring their back toe to the front and lay it on the perch. For me, that's a big mistake. That's a big fault. They should take the perch properly, and that we do by putting small branches in the flights. After a few hours, you don't find anything anymore of that in the flight. So about vitamins, we only do this, and that's the only supplement of vitamin that at the moment we are using, and it's a product from Avian. I think it's a bit outdated because they updated the name, I think, right now. I don't think the Ultimate 11-in-1 still exists. It's a different name, but I don't have the new one anymore. But this is the only supplement of vitamins that we use. In the drinking water, we use it 4 days in week 1 and 2 days in week 2, and that's it. We also put fresh lemon juice 1 day per week in the water. It's to have the acidity, to have additional acidity in the crop. And what we do is we have our drinking water, we squeeze a few fresh melons, and the squeezed melons we throw in the flight. And the birds just go and eat them completely. So yeah, lemon juice, yeah, it's a natural way to make the water more acid and to create a good balance in the crop. So then, as I said, the medication and disinfection that we are using right now is, and Marcellus is free to correct me that I'm doing something wrong, but so far this has worked out well for me. Twice a year we are treating for trichomoniasis. We do twice a year annual short treatment. Every 2 months, and I say 2 or 3 months, Exalt. Exalt is for me the best product that I ever saw for mites. I had quite some years ago, I had serious infections of red mites. And since I'm using Exalt, it's totally over. It's very expensive. It's an expensive small bottle. It costs like £50, I think. But it works perfectly. If you do that every 2-3 months, you won't have any red mite anymore. Trust me. So first 7 days, I use Bacitrix 50% to prevent. Everybody had perhaps once chicks that were not growing well, that were shrinking more than they were growing and having a red color. That's why we treat them, the pairs, the first 7 days with this product, and so far we don't have any chicks anymore that shrink or that don't grow well. There are all different products also, but this is what we are using. And of course, important is hygiene, but also try to keep all the viruses under control, and therefore we use F10 or ViroKill in the nest boxes to prevent the spreading of the viruses. And then SID20 and or Virkon S is something that we use when there are no birds in the room. I use the fogger, I put a mask on, and when there are no birds in the room, I disinfect everything. So to make sure that everything is killed. So we are now at the second part. So these were the basics. Everybody is very quiet. Is it all clear? Any questions about the basics?
The Exalt, what mixture do you mix for that, and how long do you use it for?
Exalt?
Yeah.
It's 0.5 ml per liter, or 15 drops per liter, and you do it 1 day, and then exactly 7 days later, you do it again. And that every 2 to 3 months. And because it's important to do it exactly 7 days later because of the incubation period of the red mites, right, Marcellus? I'm telling something wrong. So that's, Since then, I have not seen any anymore. Yes?
It's Baxi-tail on the previous...
Bassitrix, yes.
Bassitrix. How do you feed that? Is that in the water?
Yeah, it's in the water. Only the pairs with small chicks will get that
Yeah. Okay.
for 7 days.
Yeah. I've not heard of that.
No. Yes.
Do you measure the pH when you add the lemon juice to the water?
No. It's really we just squeeze a few lemons in the water. I don't measure the pH, but even when you throw the lemons, they eat the pure lemon when they are in the flight. So I can imagine that what's in the water won't harm them either. So it's I don't measure it specifically. No. Yeah.
I noticed in your seed mixtures, all your different seed mixtures, that none of it contained plain canary. Is there any reason?
Yeah, there is plain canary. The flat, it's the main. It's 40%, 45%, and 30% Japanese. That's 70% of our mixture, and for the rest we had all different kind of millets in there: white millet, red millet. But that's actually the basic of the seed mixture. Anyone else?
Gut, Maarten, kannst du das übersetzen? Hast du keine Angst vor der Resistenz? Ich habe einen berühmten Hühnerzüchter gefragt, der hat gesagt, er verwendet es nicht, weil er nur Angst hat, dass die resistent werden können bei Exot.
Bei Exot?
Bei der strengen Gabe, ja, wenn du sagst 2-3 Monate, ich finde das doch.
Okay. Well, I have not.
Translate, please.
Yeah. What Kurt is asking if the birds get or the red mites get resistant to Exalt, but I have not heard about that. I think it's still used for many years. It's used for many years in the poultry industry, and so far I think I have not heard about any resistance for Exalt. But you can still switch. You know, you have the drops in the neck. If you want, you can still switch over to do both or to once do this, but so far I am only using the Exalt.
Would you explain, your next
Yeah.
your breeding boxes are modular systems, aren't they? You can pull one out
Yeah.
and put a new one in. It's a
Yes.
modular system, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what impressed me when I was looked at it.
Yeah.
But it has the advantage is that they're very easy to clean. You get a dirty box, you take that,
Take it out, put a new one in, and the birds are most of the time in the nest box. So then you take it, you take the nest box off. My father changed the breeding cage, and I put the nest box back on, and the birds don't even know that anything has happened.
Yes, very good model. It
Yeah.
has disadvantages that you don't have the long.
That's indeed that. But we have enough small flights and small boxes where we can put youngsters separately. But with USIC cages, you can make like small, big flights from one side to another. That's something I cannot do anymore. Marcellus, you had also a remark.
Yeah, Maarten, concerning the Exalt, it's a very good product, and I just don't think it's needed to give it every 2 months. Otherwise, you have a big problem with mites. But if you use that, if you have a heavy load of mites and use it twice, then they are gone. And usually, most people use it twice a year,
Really?
and that's enough.
That's enough. Okay.
That's enough. So
Yeah.
I sell that stuff, so I'm happy to use a lot of that, but
Yeah.
it's not necessary
Okay, but
because it's really good.
I am honest. The vet, our vet at that time said you have to do it every 2 months.
Yeah, they're selling it.
Yeah, but yes. But I am doing it but I cannot say anything else that the vet said, but I am doing it every 3.5 months, more or less. So I saw that it's not needed to do it that often, but if you say that even twice a year is enough, then yeah, it's, yes.
When you use in the Excel, do you not use ivermectin at all?
No. No, not needed. No. The only thing is that I think, and Marcellus, you can also answer that, is that Exalt doesn't work for feather mites, where the ivermectin is working for feather mites, right?
Yeah, depends how you pull it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a small thing that we have to bear in mind. Okay. Any more questions about the basics? Okay, let's go then to pairing up and breeding. I like this quote of Charles Eames. The details are not the details, they make the design. And why do I like this? This quote is a reminder that nothing in great design is accidental. Every element contributes to the overall success and meaning of the design, of the final product of the budgie. So it's really important that you see the details and that you work on the details. So, and then being a good budgie breeder is also to have excellence in that design. It's have the attention to the small details and do the right choices. So that's really essential for a good budgie breeder. That's why actually I really like this quote and I have put it in my presentation. And now I'm going to speak about those details. So a little bit about the background of our birds. We started with, already back in 1999, we started with some local breeders, and then we bought 2 studs of breeders that had the same background. So my first visit to Daniel was in 2003, and since then I think a lot of birds have moved both ways, so we have worked together. And that's also the basis of where we are right now. We brought some birds in from the UK, birds from Harry Hockaday, from Mike Ball, from Paul Stannard. And then what's more important now, the last, let's say, 5-6 years, is we are swapping birds with friends, and we are bringing, and I call it in-out crosses, because it's an outcross because it's coming from somewhere else, but those friends are breeding with the same lines or the same what I do with Mathieu. And Mathieu will take 2, 3, 4 birds every year, and I do the same from him. And that, it's like, it's a good cooperation, and it doesn't cost anything for both parties. And that has been proven to be a very successful formula. So that's what I said. It costs less money, it gives you more options, it's a win-win situation for both parties. And it's of course a matter to granting each other good features. If you see something with your friend and that you can use and you can do it without having to pay any money for it, then it's really beneficial. But nevertheless, when I'm traveling and I'm going somewhere, I'm always looking for something totally different, for a feature that I don't have myself in my stud. We have at this moment, I think we have 400 or 500 birds, but there is always some kind of feature that I'm looking for that we don't see in our own birds. And it can be a feature, but it can also be a variety, The last, let's say, 10 years, I like to challenge myself breeding some varieties. And we started breeding some recessive, some Texas clear bodies, some melanistic spaniels, some easily clear bodies. So we have pushed ourselves also to work on those special varieties. And that's why I said every year we try to find something that we miss or that can be the next challenge for breeding. So what is our goal? Our vision is we breed birds that we like ourselves and that are compliant with what is asked on the show bench. And how do we do that? Is to create an ideal mix of different types of birds. And I will go further in detail on that. You have a show type, you have a body type, and you have a feather type bird. Show bird, it means blow, the length of the head feather, directional feather, showmanship. Body is the frame, the mutts, the neck, the shoulders, the position of the feet, that's part of the body. And the feather is the quality and the width of the feathers and the markings. So, if you see them, if you combine all those features, you are aiming for lucky number 7. It is the ideal bird that brings all those features together. But budgie breeding in 2025 might look more like this. Not only with the 3 basics, but there are many subcategories that you have to bring together to create the ideal bird. And it's not always easy. So, if we look at showmanship, what are we looking there? With blow and the length of the head feather is a beautiful frontally and laterally fan blow that reveals the eye, but not overblow. So not overblow, so that the imaginary line from the chest to the beak and upwards remains almost straight, and the buzz and does not bend for more than 10 to 15 degrees. What I do mean is sometimes you have birds that sit and that brings everything nearly at 90 degrees to the bird. What I do like is a flat bird, a flat face that goes nicely wide open, and from the chest to the beak upwards is nearly one straight line. That's for me a bird that I really like. So that's an example of what I mean with this feature. 2 brothers from last year. Then also in the show type, you have the showmanship. The general presentation of a bird, it needs to be active in the cage, moving forward. Also, you can see a bird that's happy not only in the breeding cage, but also in the show cage. When he starts coming forward and picking to the front of the cage, that's the kind of behavior that we want to see in our showbirds too. You don't want to have a showbird that sits on a perch or lies on a perch and is not active. We want a bird that puts himself up his feet and that is active. Also on a show cage. And when the show is there, he needs to say, "Here I am. Look at me. I am here." That's really showmanship, and that's something that's a very important feature also in a good showbird. I try to give you an example from that. This is a last year bred albino. Where you clearly can see how he is behaving, how he shows himself, and said, "Here I am." Then we have the body type, where we really want to see a bird with a bigger frame, with good shoulder and neck, and a nice position of the feet on perch. And I always say, and you see it here, we can build, and I specifically use some UK brands, we don't build a Bentley on the frame of a Mini. So it's important that you have your frame right. If you have a small bodied and with not much bone structure, you cannot build a big bird on that. You need to have a decent frame to build a good bird on. And that plays a crucial role in the final result. So the bone structure, the muscle mass, and the width of the shoulders and the neck, as well as the stance on the perch, and the leg positioning plays an important role in this. So that's really important for the body type birds. So I also try to give you this is a bird with a good shoulder, neck. It's the Belgian show winner of 2023 or 24, I don't remember. Well, that was a short video. So, and then, of course, we have the feather. The feather type is type number 3. And for me, the feather, of course, is like the suit that a model is wearing, or the dress that a model is wearing. It's the final layer that finalizes everything, and it must fit correctly and give the bird the correct expression. The feathers needs to be from the correct length and must be present in the right places. Long enough to provide volume and elegance, but not so long as to disrupt the bird's lines. So I will show you a bit later what I mean with that. So sometimes we see birds on the perch where we don't see their feet anymore. It means that the body feathers or the body feathers down are too long. So that's what I mean. The feather should be right, the right length on the right place. So. And also the way that the feathers interlock, it's how they bring together. It's really important to have good markings and to have the symmetry enhanced. And definitely, we are breeding exhibition budgerigars, but also color is the color intensity is important. If the feathers are too loose, we will lose that color intensity, and it's also an important feature that we should look at. As I said, feathering is the finishing touch and should bring the bird and should make the bird stunning on the show bench. That's the lacewing, white lacewing. He won the DSV Bonus Show last year. So there were some, and I downloaded them, there were some interesting illustrations that I found on the web that I also want to show here. All credits go to the maker of them. I don't know where they come from, but I downloaded them to show to everyone here. This is what I was telling, like feathers on the right place. It means if we see birds with the body feather all over the perch, this is not what we would like to see. So that means that we need to work on that particular feather field. And also really important is how are the positioning of the wings. You want them to be nicely positioned on the beginning of where the tail, and not go further down or be too long. So that's definitely also something to look at. Crossing wings at the back. Again, we are looking for the carrot type, and you're losing the carrot type if they cross the wings at the end, at the back.
Martin, do you feel that those two faults that you've just shown have become more apparent in recent years? Because I thought that those two faults had been eradicated, but I was judging a show along with some prominent judges last year, and we had the lineup for Best in Show, and I would say 75% was showing that feature. Now, people are saying that it's due to the length of the flight feathers. I don't totally agree myself. I think
that can be part of the reason,
yeah.
But not only you have birds with rather long wing feathers, but they still carry them properly. So that's yeah.
I feel that fault has become more apparent again in recent years.
But I think what I can see on the European shows is that we saw that 5, 6, 7 years ago we saw more birds like that, and that now we are going back to into the right direction. This is what my observation is, but Yeah.
Martin, sorry. You know the color mutations, they have a set genetic pattern. So these structural mutations, like compared to the wild type budgies, do you think they have like a genetic pattern as well, or is just like kind of a guess game that you're going to get these problems or these features in the future generation, or you can tell that they have a particular pattern like a color mutations? You can tell like what color is going to be.
Yeah, difficult to say actually. I do think that it is kind of genetic, because that's the way that how we are pairing up, and you try to avoid birds with those faults. But you can also correct it, and I think we have proven it over the years that you can correct it. At a certain moment, our birds were becoming quite rough, a bit too big. We had to take a step back, but it's possible. So you can do that. So it's, and that's, I will go further into that on the next slides. It's combining features, combining birds that compensate, and the way like that, I think it's possible to fix it or to get the desired feature.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another one. It's a bit similar as the previous one. And then, of course, also this one is an interesting one where we look at the cheek patches, the feathers on the cheek patches where the markings are being lost, where we do need to look at the proper markings and the ondulation on the back. So that's really also something to look at. I saw them on the internet, and I thought they might be interesting to share, interesting enough to share in my presentation. So let's have a small quiz here. If you see the bird on the picture, with which type from 1 to 7 do you think that this bird is? Yeah, so is it a body type, is it a show type, or is it a feather type? What will you think?
Shoulders.
Yeah, shoulder, neck. So
I think it's number 4.
I would say this is body type bird.
I mean, it's the feather type about the spots.
Yeah. And
Height above the eye.
yeah, so
Probably number 4. Okay.
it can be number 4, and we can discuss. So it can be 1 or 4. It's something in between, perhaps. Yeah, and that's what I said. I only draw 3 circles, but budgie breeding. Remember the slide with 8 circles? It's probably somewhere in between, right? So it's not easy to define it correctly, but everybody sees it. This is a bird with good frame, good neck, good shoulders. This one? Feather. Yeah.
6 or 2.
I think it was more a showbird, between show and feather, type 6 or type 2. So I think could be both. This one is obvious, I think.
It's a feather type.
That's a feather type bird, yeah. Yeah, you see, it's a lot of feather. Well, it's quite big bird too, so you can say it is between, it can be a 3 or 4, but both are possible. This one?
I think it's 1 and 5. 6.
Yeah? 1 and 5. Yeah, I don't see a real. I know, of course, it's not a big bird. The picture doesn't show that perhaps too well, but it's between a show and a feather bird, so it's type 6. This one is obvious again, I think.
3 feather.
Yeah, I think it's 4. between body and feather, right? I don't know. Yeah. So for me, it's both body and feather. But you see that the birds that I showed here still missing that little extra to become an ideal bird. So we need to try to combine all the three main types. And I think then, yeah, this is getting closer. Is this a type 7? Yeah, anyway, it's the WBO show winner in Belgium of 23. So he was quite close probably, but again, there are always like bits and pieces that you never breed a perfect bird. There will always be a remark, or there will always be one feature that can be better on a bird. So you never have the perfect bird, but you can breed as close as possible towards that ideal. Yeah, this is the Belgian 2022 show winner, grey-green. Yeah. And that's the lacewing that won the DSV, won the show. So I think, yeah, that's something that is always food for discussion. Is this the bird? Is this too much? Is it? Yeah. So everybody has his own idea about that, of course. So and it's good that we don't all like the same bird, because we need to. It needs to be like some differentiation in everything. So what about this bird? It's a hen. So for me, she is over the top. She is no type 7 for me, yeah, because she is over the top. But she will be somewhere in the boxes next to it probably. It's a lacewing hen that we bred 2 years ago. So our WBO model is the perfect guideline, and I've put the one of 2008 and the one of 2024 in it here. So both are there. For me, that's still the guideline for breeding. So what do we want? What do we want? We want the carrots. Birds like carrots too, but I also like carrots. So, is that the kind of bird that we want? That's for me, and I'm telling in the beginning of the presentation, like that you need to breed a bird that you like yourself. This is a bird that I like. This is the carrot-shaped bird that I want to create, and perhaps someone else sees something different, but that's for me my idea. So we have to be realistic. So what I already said, there will never be a perfect bird, and our Budgies will keep on evolving in all their directions. We saw them the past 10 years evolving to a bit too big, too extreme, too much feather, to back to a little bit more stylish, balanced birds, what I see right now in Europe. So you can see that kind of evolving, and it is important. It is really important that our birds are healthy and also are active, both in the show cage, as in the breeding cage, as in the flight. And indeed, I know Daniel also, he is very strict on it. Birds need to fly. Can all our Budgies fly? Probably not. But I do agree with him that they need at least to be able to fly a certain distance. That's definitely important for our birds. So what is the method that we are using? How do we try to get to that ideal, to a bird number 7. How do we do that? And that was the title of my previous presentation. It's Magic with Genes. And there I explain you the difference between line breeding and what I call visual complementary pairings. So we are not line breeders. We like to pair up as much unrelated as possible. I only pair up in shortened line when I really want to fix a certain feature. But otherwise, I will try to complement. So fix what's wrong in one of the birds with features in the other one. So that's something that we try to do. So what is the advantage of line breeding? I still want to say that. It helps to fix and stabilize the desirable features in the lineage, reduce the number of substandard offspring. You see the overall quality of your babies are in general higher, and it gives you a very uniform quality in the stud. But also the disadvantage is that you fix also the undesirable features. We see a lot with line or inbreeding. We see a lot of feather problems popping up again, where when you don't pair too close to each other, you see that much less. So it's difficult to produce something different. With line breeding, you will continue breeding the same birds, and there will be some better and some a little bit lesser. But to breed something totally different or something much better, then both parents will be very difficult. So that's why I take then perhaps the gamble and I do the visual pairings. And line breeding also is not as beneficial for the fertility, according to me. So when I do the visual pairings, I tell myself that I increase my chances of producing something different. I see higher fertility rates, and I see also the opportunity to introduce or to create a different phenotype. So that's what I see, what I do with the visual pairing, and that's why I always try to put a new or a better feature in. The big disadvantage, of course, is that your quality that comes out can be really bad or can be really good. There is much more difference in where with a line breeding they look all the same. Visual pairing, you have like really ugly chicks and you can have really good ones. And sometimes you try to combine features and you only combine the bad features, and what's coming out is looking ugly. So that's also a risk. But so far, I must say that risk was minimal. So that's a little bit more. If you see line breeding to the left, you see lower top, broader base, so better general quality. But with visual pairings, you see, according to me, a higher top but a smaller base. So what do we do? Indeed, I already said that. We pair visually to create the ideal mix, and we still do some line breeding, but never too close to fix some features. So a good budgie breeder is, according to us, a feather engineer. So I quickly made, because I think it's very important, I made a summary slide of Harry Hockaday's presentation. So you get, for the same price, you get another presentation from me here. So,
Of course.
now, because, and I really, it's a lot of text, but yeah, I just wanted to put it in one slide, because we also do that. So what we actually do is combining the features of the father of the hen with the cock that we are pairing the hen to. So you see the father of the hen, which is a really good cock with good features, and then you find you find a cockbird that matches or that complements that feature. And no matter how that hen looks, can be a small hen, no, that's not a problem, because she carries the gene of the father. So that's how, yeah, the first time that I saw the presentation, I saw it I think 2 times, Harry, but I was thinking, I said, this is actually not so stupid, huh? He looks... No, but really, and then once you start doing that, you can also start, of course you have to build up a stud, and you have the overall quality in your stud must be good. But once you have done that, you can also start using the smaller hens that comes out of the good cocks. And they will produce, first of all, more eggs, more chicks, and will be easier to breed with. If you only select out the big hens and you let all the smaller hens go, I assure you that you will not get the same results as if you do the cock-to-cock pairing with the small hens paired to the good cocks. The only thing that you need to be sure of is that you're really harsh in selecting your cocks. If you select out your male birds, there really it needs to be, and the only, like say, no visual male bird that I would keep would be one of a really super bird, or one of a different variety that I don't have or that I don't have enough. Then I might keep a lesser cockbird. But otherwise, you will see whenever you are visiting us, you see in every cage, you see a really good cockbird. And then, this has been proven to work, and I think Harry also proved it that it works. It's really important that you look at the ancestors of every hen. So they will carry the right genetics. So I don't know if I told everything on the slide. I just told it on top of my head. I don't know if I missed something. Harry, did I miss something?
Looks all right to me, mate.
So I said a budgie breeder is a feather engineer, and there I based myself on a really good presentation that I saw already 15 years ago, I think, from Jack Kyton, which I really liked. And it's really important to look at your birds, to look at the feather of your birds and see the growth direction and the right placement of the feather and the right length of the feather. Again, that's really essential to breed the right bird. And also on feather is the down. You see down of chicks that are good thick down on them. Most of the time, those get nice volume, and they will build a modern bird. So with all this knowledge, we are going to pair up. So many times we are putting birds together from different lines in order to blend the right features and to get as close as possible to lucky number 7. And what's ideal? Everybody knows we are looking for the carrot-shaped bird. It's a bird with a big frame, long head feather, shorter body feather, good back, skull and shoulder, showmanship and blow, the right position on the perch and attitude, and the right growth directions on the right places. So that's an ideal bird for us. So and then I show you a few of our babies. So you see the difference. That's what I mean. That's the difference in the visual pairing. That there are actually two brothers. So you see they're totally different. And perhaps the one on the left is too much, and the one on the right will be the right showbird. Who knows? It's there is a huge difference in outcome by visual pairings. This one is now. We don't give many birds a name in the stud, but this one we call it. I don't know if anyone speaks Dutch, but this is the dikke grijze, and it's the big gray. We said it was, and this one is a bird that has been really bringing us forward. It was really nice shaped bird, and it also his offspring was not immediately as good as him, but in second and third generation the quality came out again. And definitely when I used there with him, the smaller hens that came out of him produced super offspring again. So this one also is one of the key birds of the stud that has produced like the cinnamon gray show winner that we saw a few videos and a few pictures of it. That's the father to that one. But you see it here as a baby.
Go back one.
Yeah, that are some babies from this year.
Your sons.
So what I said, actually, the birds are evolving constantly, and as I said already 10 years ago, they might have been more extreme in terms of feather and frame than they are now. So, but I do think that the birds are regaining more style, and which definitely benefits their fertility, but also their life expectancy and vitality. So that's really important, what we see here. So this were, and that's what I mean. So this was like 5-6 years ago, all Latino cocks that we had at the time. But you see, they are all over the top.
Do you have to have a dartboard in the birdroom?
What?
Is that a dartboard?
Yeah. Yeah.
So did those cocks breed?
They bred, but I started after that season. I knew, and that was particular. We were already in the normals. We were already going back, but in the Lutinos, we were not going back enough already. And then after that video, I started to bring them back. And this was also one of the chicks that was too much. That was a hen. She doesn't look like a hen, she more looks like a cock. So that are not hens that you like to have, you like to breed. So you saw the video in the presentation of the albino with show type. That's down. We brought it more back. So this was a hen, but you see that she is much too loose feathered, and she needs fine tuning.
Did she breed?
No, I'm honest, she didn't breed. But that's also a hen like that looks like a cock. Most of the time they don't breed. So, and this is then where we are last year. Okay, we already saw that video earlier, but I know this is perhaps a little bit too far back, because you would expect perhaps a little bit wider in the shoulder and a bit more neck, but this is what I mean when we are evolving in different directions. Same with those birds. There were birds like 6-7 years ago. You see, if you see here, this I wanted to get out completely. Because also the birds, they don't have the carrot shape. They are, if you see the lines here, they are like that. They look impressive, but they aren't. They are not. This is more the type. If you then see the lines like that, this is where we're aiming for. This is the cinnamon gray, the son of the yellow-faced cinnamon gray. And this is the lacewing that won the DSV won the show last year. So at the end, everybody decides which way to take to achieve the goals. If you want to continue line breeding, I think when you start breeding as a beginner, you need to start with line breeding because you cannot start combining all features. You need to build up a stud before you really can do what I presented here today. So as a beginner, really benefit from the knowledge of the people that you buy from, and don't go on 10 different places. Try to stick to maximum 2-3 places and combine that when you're a beginner. But yeah, it's up to everybody. If try to breed a bird that you like. And theory, of course, is one thing, but you see that practice always continues to surprise, and that is, I think, what makes our budgie breeding hobby so exciting, right? And one important thing too is everybody needs a bit of luck sometimes. You need to have like that joker or that bird that brings you. We had like once a bird, and whatever you put to him, everything was coming out was great. So that's a bit of luck, of course. That's really luck, and you need that bit of luck. So thank you, everyone. I think I'm out of my time. I don't know, but any questions?
On line breeding, how close? What's the closest you would ever use?
The closest I would ever use. Uncle, niece, or something, but never like mother to son or grandfather to granddaughter or something like that. I would never do that. Yes?
Do you believe in AI at all?
It's I know many things are said about that, and AI, I think it is known and it is done. So do I believe in it? Yes, you can do it. When you want something from a certain cockbird that for reason cannot breed or you don't get anything, it can be useful. But I do also think that birds should be able to breed naturally.
So surely that's not a hobby anymore, is it? Surely there's a difference between having a hobby and a profession, isn't it?
Yeah.
To me, that's not a hobby anymore.
You can't police it. Okay.
Anyone else? I don't know.
If you've got time.
Yeah.
I think in the UK here we have a problem with our birds. You might get one season out of showing a bird with the tail. It loses the tail when it molts out, and then it won't grow back for the next year. Do you have that sort of problem?
We had that before, yes, but by doing this and breeding really unrelated, and make sure that, of course, you're not breeding with birds with cysts. You try to sort out as much as you can the birds that are tailless, and by doing that, I can say I have been showing birds for 3 years in a row on the DSV Bundesschau. So, and they are still complete, and they still have 2 tail feathers. So it is possible, but it's the same as breeding dogs, right? They are not allowed to be in X number of generations to put the same family together. We should do the same, because by doing that, by inbreeding, we are only creating problems, and that's why we create birds with missing feathers, with cysts, and for me that's purely genetic. Okay?
It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think that was very good. There's an awful lot of clear thinking going on there. I'm not certain there's a lot of it in the English Budgerigar Society, but that was very good. Thank you very much, Maarten. Our chairman would like to present you with a small gift.
Welcome, mate. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sure you all enjoyed that lecture. We're very honoured to be able to have Maarten and then Ali come and speak to you today. So thanks very much, Maarten. It was a superb presentation. Today, obviously, we've got another presentation before we get a short break. When's the next one?
12:30.
12:30 is the next one, so get yourself refreshed to come in and have another super presentation. Thanks again, Maarten.
Thanks.